thank you. So my name is Cathy Henkel. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I'm going to be talking to you about the rise of the eco-warrior. So the way this started for me was, it actually started on a night flight from Los Angeles to Washington. And it was one of those crowded flights, and it was midnight, and I couldn't sleep, and I just closed my eyes, and I got this vision of going into the jungles of Borneo, up a river, into this magnificent forest with the full, beautiful forest landscape, the orangutans hanging in the trees, all of the soundscape, and it was magnificent, and it was in 3D. It was like Avatar, but planet Earth. And it was just a beautiful image. And I've been making films for 23 years, and I've never seen anything as vivid as that. And I thought, I want to make that movie. I want to see that movie, so I'm going to have to make that movie. And then I had this image of thousands of young people coming across this hill in slow motion toward me. And the concept I had on that night flight was young people are going to save the forests of Borneo. And it was so vivid and so real, and it really stuck with me. And then a few weeks later, I got a phone call from Sean Tierney, who is the Australian representative of Microsoft Partners in Learning. And he represents millions of students across the world who are working together in collaboration. And he told me that they'd had an online poll where they'd been asked, if you can do one thing to save the world, what would that be? And they voted #1, stop deforestation. And so he called me and he said, have you got any ideas of how we can do this? Because I haven't got a clue. And the reason he asked me was because I'd made this film called The Burning Season, which is about deforestation and stopping the forest fires in Borneo. But also the film was being widely used in schools to motivate young people to take action directly from the classroom. So Sean and I started to collaborate, and I put him in touch with Dr. Willie Smits, who, as you say, is a fantastic TED talk about regenerating a forest in East Kalimantan, and has a huge vision of how we can stop deforestation, save orangutans, and rebuild communities in Borneo. So that collaboration started to lead to a very interesting starting point for me. My company, Virgo Productions, it has a mission to explore solutions to global issues, to understand the human spirit in the face of these enormous challenges, and most importantly, to find hope. And this story seemed to have an enormous resonance of hope for me. And so in collaboration with those people, and we also brought in Geodan, which is a company in Holland that was developing the satellite technology for Earth watches, which I'll tell you about in a moment, we together formed Deforest Action. So the students started to do activities in classrooms, very inspirational activities, but we realized very quickly that we needed to have people in the field, in Borneo, with Willie Smits, actually getting on the ground to do some work there. And we couldn't send the school students, high school students or primary school students off to the jungles of Borneo. So we put out a global call looking for young people aged 18 to 35 to come and join us in Borneo to help implement the plan. And to our amazement, the call went viral. It just went right across the world. And we got 215 applicants from 26 countries, including places like Egypt and Kenya and many parts of Asia, Africa, America, and of course Australia, many Australians. And they were phenomenal applicants, young people with skills and talents, and most importantly, passion and wanting to come to the jungles of Borneo. So we chose 15 out of that group, very difficult because they were all wonderful. And they coined the name the New Ecowarriors. And their mission is clear, to come to Borneo and spend 100 days in the jungle with Willie Smits and these school students to implement the plan. Their main organising tools would be their schools and the online networks, the social networks that they were building around them, and this action movie. And for me, the movie was, you know that expression, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Well, I wanted with this movie to make sure that whatever they were doing, that the sound and the vision of that would be heard all over the world. So the film will tell the story of youthful innocence coming into conflict with destruction and with corruption, and what will happen. And the question of the movie is, what can 15 inexperienced young people working with a scientist and millions of school students actually achieve in 100 days in the jungle? So the context of this, of course, is the destruction that's going on. This relentless pursuit of profit and progress and endless economic growth that's destroying our natural world. And in Borneo, this has reached an absolute crisis. Every day, millions of hectares are being chopped down for palm oil, illegal logging, and it's destroying the communities, the Dayak communities of the area, and it's destroying the home of the orangutan. And of course, it's contributing to climate change, and it's contributing to the destruction of our planet. If we don't have forests left on this planet, none of us can survive here. So the concept of the eco-warrior is very much one of our time. It's very much about this generation, the decisions that they make and that we make is going to determine actually the future of our life on this planet. So the stakes are pretty high. So Act 1, as you said, started for us in September, just a few weeks back. The 15 young eco-warriors and our team of Virgo Productions film crew, we headed off to Borneo for the first 20 days of the 100 days. We met up with Willie Smits there, who was the guide and leader of the team, and we were thrown into this orientation. This was really to find out what's actually going on in Borneo, what is the story going to be like, what are these young people actually up against, and what can they do? And we went on this first 20-day journey. It was like an orientation of the most extreme kind. So what did we actually achieve in the first 20 days? Well, we travelled over 2,000 kilometres in very, very bad roads and rivers, went up to the Sarawai and Umbalai regions, participated in many traditional ceremonies. We spoke to the Dayaks, and were part of a major chiefs meeting where the chief said, please help us. Our land is being destroyed. Our forests are being destroyed. We need you to come and help us. Sorry, it's not going. We slept on floors, we took part in many, listened to the Dayaks, we worked with them, we taught them English, we learnt Bahasa, and we developed plans with the Dayak youth of what they could actually do. In one village they were called Angels Sent by God, and they were named family by 2 other villagers. We took part in a major Dayak action where they captured a tractor full of palm oil, and the Dayaks said, we're going to draw a line in the sand here. They actually built a barricade while we were there and said, no more. If this palm oil company crosses this line, we will fight to the death. And the young eco-warriors were so moved by that, and they wrote a story and sent it out to the mainstream media. We also rescued Jojo, our first orangutan. It's this beautiful 2.5-year-old baby girl who'd been living in terrible circumstances in a village. She's now been brought to the new centre in Sintang, and she's really doing very well, as you'll see from the clip I'm going to show you in a moment. And she will be joined by at least 6 others in the next few weeks, and over the 100 days there's at least 60 orangutans living in absolutely terrible situation that all need to be rescued. The eco-warriors have formed 4 groups, and they will take on the challenge. First of all, Earth Watchers, which I mentioned before. It's the satellite technology that's being developed by Willie Smith and Geodan. And each of you and school students can adopt a piece of land about in a hexagon shape, and you can watch it every day, just like you'd open up your Facebook page. And if you see a disturbance, you can contact your neighbour and say, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Is there a road going in there or a tractor? And if that disturbance is happening, then you report it to the eco-warriors, and they can then go out and check out what's happening in that part of the forest. And if it is illegal, and as 95% of logging is illegal in this region, then it will be reported to the police. And the eco-warriors and Willie Smith has the full support of the police of the area and the army, and they will go out and they will make an arrest. So illegal logging can be stopped by some school student in Brisbane or in Kenya or in Tasmania or wherever they are, or one of you could become an Earth Watcher, and you could be monitoring your forest, and you can actually help stop the deforestation. The second group, the Animal Conservation Group, they will be rescuing orangutans, building up the conservation group in this village called Tembak, where there is a forest that can be utilised as a release area. And so they will be developing the rehabilitation of the orangutans that are rescued and helping them to be released back into their natural home. The third group is the Reforestation and Community Rebuilding Group. So Willie Smits' famous TED talk is about regrowing a rainforest, regrowing a whole ecosystem. So they're going to plant the seeds and help get the forest going back again, and also work with the damaged communities there, help them get their water clean again, get the communities rebuilt that have been so damaged by this palm oil. And the fourth group is the education group. They'll be doing local education with the kids about forest, about orangutans, and also global education. in all of us to understand about palm oil, to understand about illegal timber, and to understand that the consumer choices that we make are affecting these Dayak villages, affecting orangutans, and affecting the future of all of us. They're also doing regular webinars, which are where they connect up with the school students all across the world through Microsoft Partners in Learning and their partnership taking it global. We did one of those when we were on the 20 days. There we are with Jojo and the police, who was the head of police, Colonel Furley, who was supporting our program, and they would talk to the students. We're doing another one of these on Monday over 3 time zones. So we're keeping the constant contact with these school students who are really inspired by this project and really starting to bond with these eco-warriors and really support what they're doing. They're also uploading blogs and pictures and reports online. The trip was like a roller coaster of emotions for all of us, and I'm going to show you a short clip that we've just cut from the trip. What we all became aware was the enormity of the problem and the size of the challenge, the scale of the challenge that they face, but they also started to develop very real plans of what they can do. They've now all returned home to their various homes across the globe, and they're building up their networks, building up their skill and knowledge, so that they can return in March for the 80 days to implement their plans. For Willie Smits, who's been doing this work for 35 years, he said this was more than he dared to hope for. And I'll read what he says. These young environmentalists with their open minds and hearts full of passion have achieved what I dare to say of some of the most stunning results in such a short period of time that I've ever witnessed in almost 32 years of working in Indonesia. For me, my task is simple. I need to continue with my company, Virgo Productions, to raise the money to make this 3D movie, this high-impact movie for global distribution, to keep working on the plans and the distribution partners. And this is just the first 100 days. So we'll be calling for eco-warriors to come and take part in the second 100 days later next year, and then the next lot. So every 100 days, there'll be a new group of eco-warriors going out there to hand the baton on so the work can continue. This is like at least a 10-year plan. And I could well imagine I'll be spending the rest of my life doing this. But I don't mind, because this kind of wraps up everything that I'm interested in, working with young people, helping the environment, helping save the forests. And also, I really believe in the power of the movie, that if I can show what these young people can achieve out there in 100 days, and that people will walk out of that movie and go, I want to be an eco-warrior, I want to be an earth watcher, I want to do something. So each one of us can be inspired by these young people to take action, because I do believe that these young people, there's many, many, many young people around the world with compassion and power. If we just give them a structure and just give them a platform of what they can do, this is the real hope for the future. So I hope that you'd be motivated to come and join our movement by coming to one of these 2 websites, Deforest Action, which is the schools, where they can participate in the schools, and the Action Movie is the website for the movie, to come and join us on this project. And I'd now just like to show you a short clip from our first 20 days. Thank you.
We need eco-warriors because the planet is at a crisis point.
Welcome, mate.
To be an eco-warrior is to be an individual who's willing to put sometimes their life on the line, to make a change that's bigger than just themselves.
People are waking up and realizing that if we keep going on this track, we're not going to even be able to sustain human civilization, let alone all the wildlife and animals and plants that we share the world with.
These are not the worst. These are still the ones who are better off.
There are so many people that have no idea what's going on here. You've got to have this resilience that just can't be destroyed. You've got to be really strong inside you and really believe in what you're doing.
I guess it is time now for children and people and old people to stand together and have a common vision of what do we want the world to be like for our children.
I've never really thought of myself as an environmentalist. What I've learned through being here is that these Dayaks depend on the environment for their livelihood and sustainability.
I think an eco-warrior is someone that fights for the environment, not just for the environment and for wildlife's sake, but for people's sake, so we don't bankrupt the future for all of us.
The Dayaks that lost the land here, and they got so angry with the company because all the promises of the jobs were not fulfilled, and then they just attacked and they burned down the place, and then 39 of their young people were thrown in jail. That you can see with your own eyes what we Dayak are experiencing. That we are just becoming slaves of their company. We become even more poor in our own land. You, young friends who have such a network all around the world, please help us. You come from so far.
It's a cry of despair.
And all these different countries that are gathered here, that we can make a difference and we can do something, but yeah, today it hit home that our task is so large and it's so important.
It's about what's fair and what's not to people, and my priority has changed, obviously, and my eyes open now, and everything that I thought was important then is not now.
I mean, we are the eyes and the ears and the voices of millions of kids around the world.
The concept of the eco-warrior might be an individualistic thing, but I think in reality it's a collective. It's engaging whole communities and societies to step up and take action.
I'm ready to hit the ground running when I get back home and spread the word and tell everyone possible that this is such an important issue to me and to the world, and that, you know, some serious change needs to be made here.
If you don't step out and if you do not act, then nothing will ever change.
Please join us. Thank you.